Despite voters' clear message about their concerns, primarily the economy, Republicans in the House of Representatives seem more focused on policing transgender girls and women in sports. As lawmakers tackled one of their first legislative priorities, they passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, instead of addressing Americans' pressing financial issues. These include soaring housing costs, rising grocery bills, and inflation that strains everyday households. Instead of focusing on policies to help the majority of people, the House has zeroed in on the minuscule number of transgender athletes in youth and high school sports, a non-issue for most Americans. Representative Suzanne Bonamici voiced frustration, highlighting the lack of attention to problems like affordable health care, housing, and the climate crisis. The bill, which is vague and problematic, could put all women and girls at risk. It opens the door for potential misuse, with no precise enforcement mechanism, which could lead to dangerous situations where individuals could be accused and forced to prove their gender. House Republicans have again shown their lack of concern for the issues that genuinely matter to Americans. Instead of tackling the housing crisis, addressing rising rents, or curbing outrageous consumer prices, they passed legislation that further divides the country. Their focus is more on owning the libs than making tangible improvements in the lives of working-class Americans. It's telling that the bill targets a tiny portion of the population, given that fewer than 10 transgender athletes are competing in NCAA sports, according to NCAA President Charlie Baker. While the numbers for youth and high school sports aren't precise, estimates suggest the number of transgender athletes nationwide is just a few hundred at most. Even worse, there's no scientific evidence backing the need for such legislation, with most studies being based on flawed comparisons between transgender women and cisgender men. This kind of political grandstanding ignores the reality. Transgender athletes aren't the real threat to the economy. It's the lawmakers' obsession with them that distracts from real economic issues. The American people want realms for their financial well-being. Yet, Republican lawmakers have decided to prioritize culture wars over the issues that matter most. The obsession with policing transgender athletes only further proves that Congress is not doing its job.